Many people are interested in getting into skiing but have no idea where to start. This show will hopefully give those people the info they need to get it started. My name is Shaun Kunisch, and here with me today is Caiden Breen, who has been instructing ski lessons at Mount Peter for 2 years now.
Thank you, Shaun, for having me on the show. I'm very excited to talk about my experiences at Mount Peter as a whole and tips and tricks for beginners to start their journey.
All right, let's get into it. You got to start somewhere, and that's getting all the equipment you need. Things like skis, a helmet, a jacket, ski pants, gloves, boots, and much more. I know you can rent some of those things, but what are some things you can and really can't rent?
So some things you can rent are a helmet, which will keep you safe in case any collisions happen. Goggles, which could help a lot about resistance and debris coming into your eyes from skiing. Some other things you can rent are skis and boots. Those will obviously get you down the mountain. Those are necessary in order to ski.
So going back to the helmet and the goggles, do you recommend renting those things, or is it a better investment to purchase those things for like your whole life?
So for the first time, if you're a beginner skier, I would start with renting them just to see if you honestly like the flow of the sport and you have passion for it. But if you've been doing it for a little while, then I recommend buying them.
And I know you can rent these things at the mountain, but are you also able to rent these things at other ski stores outside of the mountain?
Yes, you can. So in Orange County, for example, some things around could be the ski barn. The ski barn is a very popular ski shop, and you can get almost everything you need there in order to ski. You can get your bindings and everything done and your boots.
So what does the process look like of you getting fitted for the proper boots and the proper skis look at a place like Ski Barn?
Okay, so the first thing they're going to do is to measure your foot and see the distance to make sure the boot fits, and they're going to measure it to the binding so that fits. And your skis are measured to your weight and height of yourself, and then they're gonna get you all set and outdoor.
So can you just take those skis and go around the mountain, or is there any things they do to like prepare them, make sure they're smooth and ready to go right out there?
Yep. So they actually wax the skis in order to get them down the mountain quicker, because without wax, your skis wouldn't move at all on the mountain.
So the wax just makes it smoother, an easier trip down the mountain, correct?
Yep, correct.
All right, let's move on. Now that we have everything we need, let's go back to that actually. Do you recommend renting skis as a beginner?
Yes, I do, because buying skis is a big commitment and it can cost a lot of money. So I would just recommend going with the easier and cheaper option, which is renting.
Cool. All right, I think it's time to move on now. Now that we have everything we need, we can get on the slopes. If you were teaching a first or second time skier in one of your lessons, where would you take them? And what are some of the most important skills they should learn first before anything else?
Okay, so the first thing I would do is I'd take them to the bottom of the bunny hill and teach them about mountain safety, because you don't want anyone around you to be endangered or yourself to be endangered while skiing.
What are like 3 main tips you would tell the beginners, like 3 main safety precautions they should look out for?
Always wear your helmet. Do not ever take off your helmet. You obviously need it to ski, because if you get into a crash, it's very dangerous. As well as always looking up the mountain when you're crossing trails to make sure there's no one coming down about to hit you, as well as always be aware of your surroundings.
All right, cool. Can you continue with the process of what it looks like to teach a beginner?
Yeah, so at first I'll teach them how to stop using a pizza, and then I'll bring them up the magic carpet and get them ready on their way.
So you said magic carpet. Can you explain what a magic carpet really is?
Yeah, so a magic carpet is a conveyor belt that I bring to the top of the bunny hill and get you prepared for going down.
So after you go up the bunny hill, what would you work on when you're coming down?
All right, so to start, I would just do them stopping and going. So going in that pizza and then going to the french fry, so going and stopping, like stop and go basically. And then when they come back down, I would take them back up the conveyor belt and making sure they're always leaning forward and their shins are on the tip of their boots, so they're always prepared. And then the next thing I would do is teaching them how to ski and turn. So for turning, if you're turning left, you want to use your right foot, put pressure on it, and with that, use that right foot to guide where you want to go. And if you're turning right, you use that left foot, put pressure on it, and guide to where you want to go.
So like you said before, when you're getting on the magic carpet, you have to be leaning forward in an athletic stance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the stance you should be in when you're coming down the mountain as well?
Yeah, so you should always be ready and prepared for anything that will come your way.
So you always want to be leaning forward
Yeah, that's
when you're coming down the mountain. All right. So we're talking about beginner skiers. Do you typically teach a lot of beginner skiers, or is it more advanced skiers?
Me, typically, I tend to teach beginner skiers. I actually enjoy it a little bit more because I get to see people grow their love for the sport and the passion that they have.
So say a beginner skier becomes a little more advanced. What's the step up after the bunny hill?
So after the bunny hill, I would usually take them on the chairlift and then start to bring them down and see how they do.
So once they're more advanced, what do you work on when you're coming down?
So if they're more advanced, I would work on parallel skiing, which is keeping your skis together and turning while you're doing it, not staying in your wedge the whole time.
And I know that there is like multiple difficulties. Can you go over like the color difficulties and what each corresponds with?
Yeah, so if you're on a green, that's beginner friendly. It's a little bit it's a big step up from the bunny hill a little bit, but you'll get used to it. And next we have intermediate, which you should be able to parallel ski in my opinion to go on. Just be prepared. And finally you have the expert level, which is the black diamond.
So with the chairlift. When people are coming up the chairlift, is there any safety precautions you also take with that so to keep them safe?
So always be aware of the people around you, and always be ready to put that bar down right when you get on.
And say you're a beginner, you don't really know your way around the mountain. Are there any maps or people you can talk to make sure you put yourself in the right situation to become better?
Yep, so there's always workers around you to help, or civilians that will help you, as well as there's usually maps on the top of the hill and the bottom of the hill.
And sometimes at bigger mountains, there are people at the maps to guide you where you need to go, correct?
Yep, that is correct.
All right, let's move on. Now we've got our equipment and we learned some important skills on the mountain. But something we should probably talk about is how much all this costs. Thinking about all the mandatory items, what's the damage looking like?
So it's pretty expensive, to be honest. Skiing is not a cheap sport, and you need money in order to ski, obviously. So you're looking at around $200 to $400 for a good jacket and $100 to $300 for a good pair of pants.
Can you explain why it's so important to make a big purchase on a good pair of pants and a good jacket?
Those are like the big layers, the most important parts of your whole body and suit. So those will keep you nice and warm during the cold winters and the breeze that will come towards you on the mountain.
Yeah, you don't want to be getting a thin, cheap jacket. That'll just make you cold on the mountain, right? So you went over jacket, pants. Can you go over the cost of maybe some like underlayers that you need to keep you warm?
Yeah, so there's many underlayers you can put on. I typically wear sweatpants, t-shirt, and a sweatshirt from any brand. As long as it's comfortable to you and it keeps you warm, that'll work perfectly.
And what's the price looking like for rentals and stuff like that?
It's around $230 for rentals for one season.
And what about boots?
So boots look around $60 for a season.
And do the boots and the skis typically come in like one package, or are they like separate purchases you need to make?
Depends on what you want to do, but you can sometimes make separate purchases or you can buy them in a bundle.
And what about things like the helmet, the goggles, and other accessories necessary?
I would say those cost around, so the helmet's around 40. Goggles you can rent for around 10 to 20 or 20 to 40. And then, yeah, those are not that expensive, but they're not the big part of it.
And what do you recommend purchasing for socks under the boots? Do you recommend purchasing a thin sock or a more thick sock?
I recommend purchasing wool socks. Those help a lot. They keep all the moisture out and they keep you nice and warm inside.
And I know that we talked about it before, how you can purchase these things at places outside the mountain. Is that the same with like almost all these things? Can you purchase these at stores like Ski Barn, like the underlayers as well?
Yeah, you can purchase these honestly anywhere. You can even buy them online if you'd like to, but I wouldn't recommend that, just to always try them on in store.
So you would recommend going to the store just in case
Yeah.
like the size didn't fit right, and that becomes a whole other situation. That's like not a very good scenario, right?
Yeah, if you're buying online, you don't really know what's going to come in fully. So I always like to try it on in store and make sure it fits me to my perfection.
And talking about the glove side, do you recommend getting a glove or a mitten? Which one do you prefer?
I would prefer a mitten because it seems to keep you warmer and your hands are always together, which I seem to has better warmth and stuff like that.
All right, that's one of the only downsides of skiing. It's pretty expensive. It's not even just the equipment. You have to pay to be on the mountain, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's gonna be around $60 for a day pass, around that, $150 for a triple play, and around $300 for a season pass.
So say you're a beginner skier, you're not sure if you're gonna like it. Which pass would you recommend purchasing?
I would recommend to start off the day pass, just so you're not spending too much and you're keeping that cost down.
And before going back to what you said a triple play. Can you go over what that is?
Yeah, so a triple play is being able to go to the mountain 3 times in the whole season.
And when is it the time to make the purchase to get the season pass, or is it a better investment to go with the triple play like multiple times?
So the triple play, if you buy 2 triple plays, it's around the price of a season pass. And the season pass is unlimited, so you can go as many times as you want, and you don't feel obligated to go. But I would recommend after 1 triple play, you buy the season pass if you're committed.
Say it's kind of spontaneous and you decide to go to the mountain. Can you purchase these passes at the mountain, or are they only available online?
So it depends what resort you go to and stuff like that, but usually there will be a ticket booth and you can get your tickets there.
So you could do it online or at the mountain, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So it's often misunderstood that you also have to pay for a lesson, not only just a pass, if you want to get taught by an instructor, right?
Yeah.
And I know at most mountains, like Mount Peter, they offer multiple varieties of lessons, like a free beginner lesson, which is you and a group of beginners, you and the instructor, and a couple more people. It's not as one-on-one, but you're just learning the basics, maybe making up the magic carpet, but you're basically just staying on the bottom, getting used to the feeling of being in the boots, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then the move on from that would be a group lesson, which is a little more one-on-one. You might be getting up the chairlift then, you're becoming a little more advanced, and it's more one-on-one compared to the free beginner. And then after that, it's the semi-private, which is you and maybe 2, 3 more people. And that's definitely more one-on-one compared to the other ones. You're getting more direct teaching, learning like all the right you need to do and things you need to fix, right?
Yeah.
And then finally, it's the private lesson, which is you one-on-one with an instructor. You're learning all the tips and tricks you need, all like the peculiar things that you need to fix, right?
Yeah.
So I know that they offer these lessons. Can you go over the prices of what these are?
Yeah, so for a free beginner lesson, it's free, so you don't have to pay anything for it. You just need to have a lift pass. For a group lesson, it'll be typically around $60 to $70 for a group lesson. It's pretty large, about 7 to 10 people. I don't know if you get your money's worth completely, but I would recommend it if it's like your third or fourth time. And they match it with people of your skill level, so you always won't be behind or flooding in front of your group.
All right. Well, I think that's almost everything you need to know if you're looking to be a new skier. Skiing isn't too easy, but you'll get there. Caiden, thank you so much for coming on here with me today.
Thank you, Shaun.
My name is Shaun Kunisch, and I hope to see you on the powder.